We got some updates on the Russell Brand situation. One of the European bosses of YouTube basically said he won't be banned from the platform. So what they're saying is like, look, you can live, you just can't make a living. Like, you're allowed to be alive. You just have to be miserable and die alone in a box.
They said something like, well, we haven't seen any harmful content from him yet, but we're watching.
As if he's just been waiting for the day to update his, like, greatest hits reels of sexual assaults. Like, is that what they think he's going to do? Is that what they think he's going to do?
I'm sure YouTube was already keeping a close eye on him just for the nature of what he covers.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So he knows that he has to tiptoe around certain issues now.
Yeah, and so it says his name's Pedro Pena, says they were appearing in conversation with Channel 4. Remember, I pointed out on the show last night, Channel 4 is the place that hosts Naked Education, which puts naked adults in front of a bunch of children. So you are not the bastions of good conscience. You're horrible people, and you're judging this guy that we can't know enough about to actually pass judgment on. Have you been following the story?
I had not. Also, that was an assault on my ears, especially. I was actually going to ask you if you could turn me down a little bit, because I asked earlier. You did, and I just realized that now that we're all, you know, talking and lively and animated, I'm currently dying.
Better?
Yes, much better. Thank you. I am so sorry for the inconvenience, but no, I have not been following that. I have been so nose deep in things that happened 150 years ago that I have thankfully had a respite from all of the nonsense of 2023. Yeah. So I guess ruin my week.
Yeah. I feel like when we do eventually like a 2023 pop culture recap, this year is going to be just Me Too allegations and celebrity divorces. Yep. Is that like the running theme that you're noticing as well?
Yeah, Kevin Costner just settled his divorce. Got they like apparently she got more money than she thought.
And sprinkle in Barbenheimer, and that's pretty much the year in review.
I mean, there was other stuff. Like, look, we reviewed a lot of movies this year, and what I pointed out on the show last night was like, look, I may not have loved all of them, but it's not like we went to a bunch of movies that were awful. They were just forgettable, right? And that's the struggle.
Dumb Money, the movie about GameStop, is coming out this Friday, and I was like thinking, should we review it? I mean, let us know in the chat if you want us to, but
it got mixed reviews.
It seems like just another forgettable movie. Also, they're wearing, I mean, I know it's because it happened during like the pandemic era. Masks. But they're wearing masks in the movie, and it's just, I don't want to be reminded of that again.
So it says, essentially, he's not able to make a living through YouTube. And what I was thinking, so somebody made a comment to me the other day, because the examples that I was giving were Colleen Ballinger, who has very serious allegations against her. If that's the level of evidence you're looking for, if all you're looking for is Colleen Ballinger is evidence.
I mean, really, these kids who were fans of hers during that time that are making all the allegations, they have more receipts and more proof for what they're telling people about her than what I've seen so far for Russell Brand.
The other example I gave is Mike Tyson, and they're like, well, Mike Tyson,
that's the whole conviction.
And their point was, they say, yeah, but Mike Tyson paid his debt to society. I'm like, okay, fine. So is the idea here that you don't get to make money while you're accused, but you can make money once you've been convicted?
Can he get remonetized after he gets convicted?
After you pay your debt to society? Or is the idea here that maybe the only time you should be demonetized is while you're actually serving your prison sentence, and the third-party organization like YouTube should stay out of it?
Well, I think you guys are making the assumption that there's supposed to be rules or any sort of fair, like,
oh yes, I'm utopian in my thinking.
No, it's not. It's Russell Brand got himself outside of the accepted space in Hollywood, and regardless of whether or not he did it, I don't know anything about it aside from a few vague, like, you know, he's accused of some bad stuff. And I will say, you know, what he's been accused of is a lot worse than what Colleen Ballinger was accused of. You know, so I think there is a slight difference there in terms of, you know, comparing the two. But I mean, there's no path to redemption for him. He's never allowed back.
He wasn't really in the club before the allegations.
Well, he was in the club for a long time, and then he left the club, and now they're
like, hey, you still want to be part of our club? Here's why you can't be.
This is the punishment. This is the, you know what? Well, now goodbye. You're out for good.
Yeah.
I think they're making an example of him.
Tim made a good point. He said a lot of people keep pointing to Big Pharma as like the ones who would want to bring him down. He goes, I think it's more likely the fact that he's anti-war. And like now you're into the military-industrial complex, the CIA and the NSA, which have actual people that could...
Even that sounds too like intelligent and conspiratorial.
Well,
to
all the
me.
conspiracies, everybody's always thinking it's like, oh, they're targeting the right-wingers. It's like, I don't see Russell Brand as a right-winger.
No.
And I think it is that he's, there's this... that for whatever reason, we have somehow completely abandoned anti-war as being a thing that
it's crazy,
is a liberal
isn't it? Dude,
value.
isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like you watch movies and television from 10 years ago, and any character, if they included a character that was supposed to be like some type of liberal activist, anti-war was always the sentiment.
I'm looking over here. Sean Penn's crusade. Why he's risking it all for Ukraine. It's
why he's risking it all by doing basically nothing that puts him in danger.
By not risking anything.
We've also
actually
got Rose McGowan's words here.
Yeah, she gave her interesting take on Twitter in a voice note. She said, "What's the true narrative they're pushing, and who really loses?"
Yeah. Well, the point I made was like, look,
she's kind of horseshoed.
Yeah.
Back to like critical of Me Too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like that happened pretty quickly.
Yeah.
She was critical of the fact that they were going on these vacations and nothing was actually getting done.
Yeah.
Like, why are you going on these planning vacations where you just go to exotic resorts and nothing gets done, right? Like nothing ever actually happens with these when they fill these organizations out, whether it's BLM, whether it's the Me Too movement, which
Time's Up specifically,
which was an actual organization. Nothing really ever comes of it. It becomes a way for these celebrities to voluntarily virtue signal as well as make money because they end up on the boards of these companies. They get invited to events, which allows them to network further within the community. It's kind of how the Hollywood ecosystem works now when every actor, somebody used the term the other day that I can't believe I had never heard of before, activist, which was, that's what a lot of them are in a lot of ways. So should we listen? Did she say more? Should we listen to the
Yeah,
to
we
her
should
clip?
listen to her take.
All right,
I haven't heard it.
Let me start this by saying I stand with all victims. I think what's being done right now in the Russell Brand case with The Guardian and the other news outlets is part of a concerted effort to turn the public in general against anybody who comes out. And one of the reasons and ways they're doing this is a concerted effort to bend journalistic rules that have always been in place, such as having to be on the record with who you are and what your name is in order to accuse. I didn't make these rules. These are the rules. They were the rules. So there's something very strange going on when these rules are being bent in order to push a narrative. It's almost like Icarus flew too close to the sun. He's a low-lying fish and not one of the truly powerful, so he can be thrown to the wolves. I don't know if he's guilty. I don't know if he's innocent. That's not what this is about. This is about driving us further apart and mainstream media and media outlets protecting people on a higher up level from true consequence, from what they're really doing and what they're really getting away with. And the real losers in this are actual victims. I'm sorry and hurt for anybody who's been hurt. But this narrative and the way it's being done is just pushing this culture war, pushing us farther apart, and pushing any gains gotten by people believing accusers to the edge. And this is a way to have us not be believed. This is not the way the reporting is done. You have to go on the record. It has always been that way. I didn't make it so. It didn't make me happy to have to do so. Neither did it make others happy to have to do so. But to blindly and anonymously accuse, none of these high-level journalistic outlets would have ever let this be published before. So I have to ask why? Why now? What is the true narrative they're pushing?
Meaning that they wouldn't have allowed people to make these claims anonymously before.
She's right. There's nothing brave or courageous about coming out with these allegations, as all of these articles have just heaped praise on the accusers while you're doing it anonymously. That's not brave.
Yeah, that was the point we were making yesterday, right? It's like the one lady who came forward with her name, that would be considered brave, but taking shots from the dark, from the shadows isn't that. It's political fodder.
Yeah. And I honestly think that everything Rose McGowan was even saying in there is good. I don't want to blanket say I agree with everything she said, but I think the idea that, like, yes, the people who are hurt by this are the actual credible victims who...
That's what Dane said.
It's
yes.
Yeah.
If you get to a point where there's just a constant stream of accusations against people with no evidence whatsoever, then you start to make the assumption that unless you're provided with more and more a higher and higher standard of evidence, that people are just going to assume you're lying. And so you get the opposite effect of what was intended. I mean, I don't know what to think with Russell Brand, but my rational side goes, all right, he was a, hard partying movie star in Hollywood in the 2010s. Yeah. The chances that he hooked up with a 16-year-old, that would not surprise me at all. I would not put it past a guy like him
that
having,
that wasn't
watched
even
him.
Hooked up. That was in a relationship. In the UK, right? And and then there was people going back and forth on the Megyn Kelly had a lot to say on the ethics of that, and said that it was disgusting. That
and she was just saying, like, don't be so like confident in saying this guy is innocent. Like, you just be honest. Like, you don't know if he's innocent. You don't know if he's guilty.
And that's what we said yesterday. Like I asked the question, I said, is Russell Brand innocent, guilty, or look, it's complicated? And I think that the only right answer is actually, look, it's complicated. Yeah. Like, it's very, very hard. Like, I hesitate to have that much certainty on anything going on in my own life, let alone a third party view of somebody else's life.
I think it could very well be that he did some of or all of the things he's accused of, but the fact that he did them is by no means the motivation for taking him out.
A lot of people,
because I think I am, when it comes to this stuff, that it's an open secret. There's rumors about who does what. Everyone knew about Weinstein. Everyone knew about him, and Oprah was handing off young starlets to the guy left and right. So we can all pretend like there's not open secrets and all of that in Hollywood, but I mean, I don't think that they go after people for this unless they're making an example of them for something else. I think it's entirely possible that he did it. I would not be shocked to hear that. But
that plus ulterior motives, it could totally be the case that both of those things are at play. But a lot of people have gone from believe all women to believe no women. And those are the sheep.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.